Chamga chitab kalenjin itagaten tetitetab health watch kaina nyingo Karen Cheriot ak en betutab raini kemoche kekusingong agobo the largest organ in the body, that is the skin. Against studio gemiten ak Rosette, CEO nebo Sorano Organics. Welcome to the show, Rosette.
Thank you very much for having Karen.
You're welcome. Now let's talk about the skin. We start with talking about the types.
Sure.
What are the types of the skin that are available, that are there?
So there's quite a number. And from time to time, our skin type actually does change. Okay. So I think we'll get into that at a later stage. But we have oily skin. We have oily skin, we have dry skin, we have combination skin, and we have normal skin. So if I can just go into detail a bit. So normal skin are the people we envy, the people who have no issues. You don't need to oil, you don't feel like you're cracky. I mean, there are people who rarely will have skin issues. Okay. Oily skin is rather obvious. They shine, kama mandazi, you know. It goes without saying. If you have oily skin, you will definitely know. Because most of them would complain that even as soon as you've cleansed your face, you'd start to feel shiny and oily, almost like you want to powder it down. Then we have dry skin, another one which is very easy to detect. This is the type of people who feel extremely dry, almost cracky. Like there's always a continuous urge to moisturize. It's tightening. You feel like you want to apply something, literally. So that's dry skin. Then now the one which is a bit complicated sometimes to figure out is the combination skin. So you'll find that these are people who tend to be dry on the cheeks and then oily on the T-zone. So the T-zone would be the forehead, the nose, and the chin. And you'd find that they even have breakouts around these areas, but these areas are very dry. So those are the common skin types. Yeah.
And when we talk of having a sensitive skin, where is that in relation to dry skin, oily skin, or is it like a different type on its own altogether?
So sensitive skin, I wouldn't really categorize it on its own, because you could have dry skin and very sensitive. You could have oily skin and sensitive. You could also have combination skin and sensitive. Some of these triggers, they are not just environmental, it could be internal. That is leading, because our skin communicates. Most of the time it's what's going on internally that we project externally. So sensitivity could be to allergens, it could be pollen, it could be food, it could be so many things. So I would not, although it tends to be categorized on its own, but I find it difficult to do that because sometimes you have somebody who has very oily skin, but it's sensitive. Somebody who has very dry skin, but it's sensitive. And sometimes now this is when we refer them to maybe a dermatologist to go and figure out, is it something internal? So it's not entirely a category on its own, it can cut across.
Can you easily tell your skin type without having to go to a dermatologist?
Yes, we have tips. Actually, what we normally do when we talk to our clients, we encourage, if you're not sure of your skin type, number one, when you cleanse, morning or evening, whatever time of the day, immediately you cleanse, leave your skin without applying anything for like 30 minutes. But now, allow me to give a disclaimer there, because sometimes cleansers can also hinder us from knowing our skin type. Reason being, sometimes if you use a cleanser which is a bit harsh, it can totally clear your natural oils. So even if you're oily, at that point you might think you're dry. So a very big disclaimer is to make sure that you use a gentle cleanser. Gentle in the sense that after cleansing your face, you should never feel dry. You should never feel cracky. If you cleanse your face and you feel cracky and dry, you're definitely using a harsh cleanser. Now let's assume you have a good and gentle cleanser. The easiest way to know your skin type is immediately after cleansing, leave your skin for like 30 minutes. If you're oily, you will shine. Guaranteed, utakaa kama mandazi. And if you're dry, you will feel very tight, very cracky. There is an urge to apply something after those 30 minutes of cleansing. And if your combination, you'll definitely shine on those areas you normally shine, and you'll feel cracky and dry on those areas which are dry. So then you know your combination skin. So the easiest and as a first point of even seeking help, it's very important to know your skin type. So the easiest way to know even before you go for professional help is just that simple, whatever, of cleansing and then leaving your skin for like 30 minutes. Then observe the behavior. But disclaimer, as we said, use a gentle cleanser. Because again, if you don't use a gentle cleanser, you might think you have dry skin, but maybe you don't. Yeah.
I know someone might be wondering, what is a cleanser? How do I know how if a cleanser is gentle or it's harsh?
Yes.
We'll talk about that later.
Yes.
I want us to talk about the common skincare problems that you may have. You've said that a normal skin type would most of the time wouldn't get a lot of issues.
Yes, correct.
But now let's talk about the dry skin, sensitive. Although you said we shouldn't categorize sensitive, but let me just
sure.
that and, sorry, not acne, but oily skin. What are some of the issues that you have?
So, excuse me. So most common issues, again, the emphasis is having a simple skincare routine. And the reason why I keep giving these disclaimers, it's because most of these issues that I'm about to talk about, they come about because we don't take care of our skin. Cleansing properly, having a moisturizer and a sunscreen will save you a lot of these issues. Now, some of the common issues we're looking at is acne. Acne comes out especially for oily skin. It affects majority. Very rare you'll find somebody with dry skin and acne, though it happens. But majority of acne cases are with oily skin type. And the reason being is because probably we don't exfoliate properly. Our pores are clogged. Because remember, our skin is constantly rejuvenating. And if it's rejuvenating, it means we're accumulating dead skin. So if that skin is not being exfoliated, guess what? It's forming layers and layers on our skin. And what that clogs pores. So when you have clogged pores, and remember with oily skin, they have an overproduction of sebum. So this sebum does not have an outlet because your pores are clogged. So then it has to force itself out in form of breakouts. So then commonly you'll find that oily skin will tend to have acne. So, and then dry skin will tend to be pigmented because it lacks moisture. So if then you don't moisturize properly and you're exposed to the sun, the sun triggers pigmentation, overproduction of melanin, and therefore pigmentation. So again, going back to a simple skincare routine, if you incorporated a sunscreen, you would avoid that. If you moisturized properly, you would avoid that. So pigmentation is another thing we see very, very commonly, especially we're in Africa. Our sun, this is the tropics. It's literally here. We are most of us hustling out here, Hustler Nation.
We're all out there.
We are all out here. So pigmentation is a big one because most of us are exposed. The rays of the sun are hitting us directly. We live in an era where the ozone layer is depleted, so the UV rays are literally on our skin. So we see a lot of pigmentation, we see a lot of acne, and because if we don't treat that acne, we also see a lot of scarring, which is another issue, because most people like to pick their skin. Pick breakouts, pop them out. So we see a lot of scarring as well. And finally, another common issue is early aging. You see people with premature wrinkles. We might want to peg it on stress, true, but also a simple skin care routine can also help with that, because again, early aging is a result of the sun damage. The sun hitting our skin directly, it slows down our collagen production. Collagen is responsible for skin elasticity. So then again, if you do not incorporate a simple skincare routine, you will start to see early wrinkles. Yeah, so those are the most common. Of course, there are so many other, melasma, psoriasis, most of them, some of them even have to be medically diagnosed. But if you're talking about the common ones, which you can easily take care of, those would be top of my mind.
Okay. Yeah. And I think you also have the fact that when you've talked to people who keep picking, people touch their faces, meaning they transfer germs from their hands.
Bacteria. Bacteria, yeah. I mean, we are touching money. We are very hands-on. We are a hands-on nation. So again, transferring that bacteria onto your skin will definitely lead to breakouts. And especially if you have sensitive skin and oily skin. it will definitely now lead to an overproduction of bacteria in your face and therefore leading to breakouts.
I want to take you back to the oily skin and clogged pores. Many people have oily skin.
Yes.
And what is a simple routine for unclogging your pores at home without necessarily having to use a ton of products?
Exactly, and I love that because simplicity is very, very important in a skincare routine. Very easy way, especially for oily skin, what we normally advise all our clients: steam your face with plain hot water once a week. Steam your face, and immediately after steaming, mask. Reason being, when you steam, you open your pores. You melt the trapped sebum. It has an outlet to come out because now of course, if you steam, you naturally see your face glowing because now the oils are melting and they're coming out. So when you do that, it opens your pores. And if you mask immediately, the masks pull out the toxins which are trapped in the layers. So a very simple skincare routine for an oily person, aside from using a good cleanser, is to weekly steam your face and weekly mask. Because when you do that, even the products that you use, they are able to be absorbed. Because if your pores are clogged, and this is why you see people moving from one brand to another saying, me, I've tried everything, nothing works. But sometimes it's because your pores are clogged. So it doesn't matter what you're applying, how are the products going to be absorbed into your skin. So for every skin type, especially oily and problematic skin, that process of steaming, masking weekly, very important. Number one, it allows the excess sebum to come out smoothly without breakouts. And number two, it allows the products that you use to be easily absorbed.
Before we talk about the skincare routines, many people say, okay, men tend to shy off from routines. Is it meant for just women, or?
No, imagine, Karen, incidentally, we live in an era where men are slowly
accepting it,
becoming aware and conscious of how they look. So slowly and slowly we are building a clientele, and have a very good clientele of men who now have embraced it, because a skincare routine is for everyone. We are talking about exfoliating. We all rejuvenate our skin. You know, so long as you're alive, your skin is rejuvenating. We're talking about acne and breakouts. I've seen very many men who suffer that as well. We're talking about being exposed to all these free radicals, sun exposure. We are all vulnerable in that sense.
So we can all generally use the same products.
You can use the same product, because if you have a common problem, which is acne, then the solution would be
the same as what a woman would use.
Exactly. So there's no speciality for women and for men.
Now let's talk about the routines, skincare routines, and the various products that you'd recommend someone to use according to the type and age as well.
Okay, that's a very good question. So, excuse me. So for routines, we normally have a morning routine and an evening routine. Nothing big in difference, if you ask me, because for me, the key is to properly cleanse. So the number one product that you must have for all skin types is a gentle cleanser. A gentle cleanser in the sense that you will cleanse your face, remove all the dirt, but not strip off your natural oils. You should be able to cleanse, and immediately after cleansing, you don't feel over dry. You still feel normal. So a cleanser is very important.
And when you are at the store, how would you identify that this product is gentle and this will not be gentle? What are the key things that you should be looking out for?
First of all, read out for any product which has paraben. It will be spelled there, because we are mandated to write the ingredients. If a product has paraben, avoid it. It's actually banned now in the whatever beauty industry. If it has paraben, also check out for the pH level. pH level, if it's a normal pH should be about 4.5 to 5 to about 6.5. So if it's higher than that or lower than that, but sometimes that may not be included, watch out for very acidic cleansers, especially oily skin. Because most of this, I have this conversation with clients, and most of them will tell you that I use this soap or this cleanser because it clears my oil. You know?
I know it's unfortunate
Yeah.
because many people actually use bar soaps. They think bar soaps is the best
Please
product.
avoid bar soaps. If there's anything you will take out of this conversation today, avoid bar soaps because the ingredients that make it a bar, very hard to check the pH. And for skin is very sensitive to pH. We are now mandated as a regulation when you're doing cleansers to have pH balanced cleansers so that the skin then is not being affected or tampered with in terms of pH. So that is why bar soaps we highly discourage. Of course, there are those which are, they're called beauty bars, but yeah, on a safer, whatever, just use a cleanser to be on the safe side. So a cleanser would be key on the skincare routine. A moisturizer would be a must-have on a skincare routine. If it's in the morning, add sunscreen as a must-have. So those three for me is non-negotiable.
Those are the basics.
Those are the basics. Now, these other ones are usually for treating a specific condition. Now, you asked me for like somebody who has oily skin. Depending on what brand you're using, we have an oil specifically for oily skin. So that this person, immediately after cleansing, they use the oil. What it does, it balances sebum production.
Those are the serums now.
No, this is an oil.
Okay.
I'll come to the serum. It is an oil, so it's heavy on jojoba, jojoba, depending on where you were born. So jojoba is the only oil which mimics our sebum production. So you want to incorporate oils which have jojoba or oils which are very, very specific. Again, remember, you must know your skin type. Very specific in the sense that they are not adding more moisture to you. They are going to regulate the already overproduction of moisture. So you want to add that into your routine if you have oily skin or if you have acne. Now, if you have hyperpigmentation or dark marks, because sometimes we treat acne, we remain with scarring, or because most of us don't use sunscreen, a lot of issues or queries we have is why is my face darker than the rest of my body? So you also want to incorporate a serum, a vitamin C serum to be specific, into your routine, because what vitamin C does, it slows down that process of pigmentation, or rather melanin production, because pigmentation is ideally when melanin production goes on overdrive. So then you want a product which is going to slow that process. So you incorporate that into your routine. If you have dry skin, moisturize, moisturize, moisturize. Don't forget sunscreen during the day, and at night you can now incorporate your serums. Yeah.
There's so much hype out there about skin routines and all, but I want us to narrow down to those that are harmful to the body. What are some of these practices that we're doing that actually harm the skin, or do we think that we're doing good to the skin?
A very good question, because I feel like most of us are misguided. And I always say information is power.
True.
So number one, just the basic, the easiest for me is know your skin type. Because if you're oily and you're using products for dry skin type, essentially, you see, for dry, we're trying to add good moisture into them. For oily skin, you're trying to reduce that. So if you're using products which are adding you more, of course, then your skin is going to go on overdrive. You're adding more. So the basic for me is knowing your skin type. Once you know your skin type, it's very, very easy when you go to over-the-counter, because mostly you'll find most of these products, good brands, will indicate this is for dry skin, this is for oily skin. So basic is to know your skin type, because that is where 90% of us go wrong. We see a friend who used this brand and this product and it worked on them.
We go and take the same thing.
You go take the same. It's going to do more harm than good unless you're both of the same skin type. Second for me would be over-exfoliating. Exfoliating is important. As we've said, it is very important to remove this dead skin. But this dead being at home, taking coffee and adding sugar and doing all this whatevers, and then because we've gone to YouTube to Kaona. And by the way, all these ingredients you're talking about, they are very, very good. But knowing how to properly use them is where most of us go wrong. Because again, the process of, remember we keep talking about our natural oils, which we must protect at all costs. Reason being, that's the first layer of protection that God gave us, the skin, the body, to protect ourselves from the free radicals, the pollution, and all these triggers. So they're very, very important that whatever routines we are getting into are very, very gentle on our skin. And that is why nowadays you even see chemical exfoliants as opposed to those rough, coarse exfoliants, especially for sensitive skin and acne-prone skin and oily skin. You want to be very gentle with that skin type. If you have normal skin and you have dry skin and you don't experience a lot of this sensitivity and breakouts, you can use a very gentle exfoliant. Keyword is being gentle on your skin. So again, over exfoliating, over masking, especially when we are using this what are they called, clays. So we use clays to pull toxins from our face. But sometimes we want to put on that mask and walk around for 10 hours. So again, it has pulled off whatever toxins it needed to, but now it's even going back into pulling out your natural oils. Please follow clear instructions which are provided on the products. If it says not more than 10 minutes, then please don't go over 10 minutes. If it is a clay, once you feel like it's starting to dry, at that point it's done its job.
There's a notion we have that, if it says 15 minutes, no. That will not work. Let me do 30 minutes because this skin is really bad. So if you do longer,
you're not going to save your skin in one day. It is a journey. Skincare is a journey. Skincare is a lifestyle. True. I keep saying skincare is a lifestyle because so long as you're alive, you need to take care of yourself. So long as you're alive, you're rejuvenating your skin cells. So long as you're alive, you need to take care of yourself. So you're not going to solve a problem overnight. It's important. It's those simple, progressive, positive results that you're seeing that eventually give you smooth, glowing skin. So follow instructions. There's a reason why those instructions are there, because again, overdoing anything, I keep saying anything in excess can be detrimental, whether organic or not. We just need to be everything in moderation.
So this conversation has somehow focused on the face. What of the rest of the body?
Actually, what you do here, well, this might be more sensitive, and because it's exposed, of course we do sunscreen on our face every day. Sunscreen if you're traveling or if you're exposed, because when we recommend sunscreen, we always recommend apply sunscreen on all the exposed body parts. So if you're exposing your hands in the morning, make sure there's sunscreen after moisturizing. If you're exposing your legs, make sure there's sunscreen after moisturizing. Another thing, exfoliating is also very, very important, even of the full body, because the entire skin is rejuvenating.
True.
Exfoliating, weekly exfoliation is also very, very important. It removes dead skin, and this also helps because I've had to deal with people who have like body acne, for example. But sometimes you find it's just the simple solutions of lack of exfoliation, because they've had different people rejuvenate their skin at different times. There's some who their skin rejuvenates faster than others. So you find with those, then they're prone to issues of like accumulated skin, hyperpigmentation, because these layers also create pigmentation. So then exfoliation of the full body is very important. Moisturizing the full body. Please, moisturize the full body. So kupaka tu hapa the visible areas.
Ndio mwanaume atasema, I'm going to do my hands penye inaonekana.
I know.
The rest of the body.
I don't know when amejaribu. Moisturize the full body. And again, this is topical. You're talking about topical, but first and most important, take care of your internal. Take care of your internal. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Skin loves hydration. Remember, our body is made of, 70% of our body is made of water. So the simplest way of building health and even good skincare is hydration. A lot of water, very, very important. Good foods, diet. We won't go into detail, but we all know. We know diet is not overrated. Diet is very, very important. Your skin will glow if you nourish your internal whatever system properly. And also lastly, exercise. Exercise helps us to detox. So now the process of detoxing, removing toxins from the body, even your skin will thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now, tell us about the products we have here. And before we talk about them, for someone who wants to reach you, how can they get you? And what inspired you to start Sorano Organics?
Sorana is a long story, but I'll shorten it. First of all, I'm a victim of acne also as I was growing up. I struggled, but also my background, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, so organics was big in my family. I grew up seeing my mom give us herbs. We grew up on natural, whatever. And I remember even when I was struggling with my face, most of the time when I was home for holidays, she would, because she always planted aloe vera and all these herbs in the compound, so she would mix them in my lotion, in my facial creams, and it would work. But then when I go to school, I used to be very embarrassed to carry miti shamba with me. So I would go to the supermarket and buy all these other products which would not work.
Yeah.
So I think in hindsight as a child, some of the things you see, you carry them with you unknowingly. And as I grew old and I learned safety and all this, it was very important for me because I used organics to treat my own skin. And therefore it was very, very inspirational for me when the thought occurred that I can go big and help people. So for me, safety is one of the key things that I decided to go to the market with. Another thing is simplicity. And I'm very lazy. I don't like bulk. Nowadays when you go for it, you walk away with this huge bag of products.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why I also share a lot of information is because simplicity for me is very important, and because there are simple solutions to some of these problems. So that's the inspiration behind Sorana Organics. And we mainly focus on the face because at the epitome of it, we're trying to bring out confidence. I realize that what goes on here really, really affects what goes on internally. And so therefore we focus heavily on acne, all the skin types that we've talked about, hyperpigmentation, scarring, and our entire range has anti-aging ingredients. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us about the products.
Yeah. So like I said, when we started, we were focusing mainly on acne because that's what I thought. You know, remembering the small girl I was and how it used to make me feel, I thought, okay, fine, let me try and help people with acne. And then we realized when we did the oil, our oil is called Miracle Oil, mainly for acne and oily skin. I realized it's one thing to give people a very good oil, but then I realized they're using wrong cleansers. So then we started working backwards. So we have a cleanser for all skin types, obviously, because a cleanser, then what you need to focus on is it has to be gentle. So we have a cleanser, we have a toner especially for the problematic skin types because it has an array of organic ingredients.
Okay.
Which are antibacterial, antifungal, anti-inflammatory, because you find a lot of problematic skin is inflamed. So we want to calm down that skin. So we have a toner, and then we have the Miracle Oil that I talk about, which is very specific for oily skin and acne skin. And then we have a collagen moisturizer for all skin types, but mainly dry skin. And again, I like simplicity. Like I said, it's a moisturizer, but we thought, let's add collagen because aging, early aging issues, so we deal with that as well. So it's a very strong moisturizer, which also has moisturizing oils because the oils we have in the acne oil kit, they're not heavy on the moisturizing bit. Like I said, different skin, catering for different skin types. And then lastly, we have, we also have a scrub mask, which is both a scrub and a mask. Like I said, simplicity, because we can combine these things. So you scrub and then you leave it on for like 10 minutes, it pulls out toxins, and then you rinse off. And finally, we have a vitamin C serum because we see a lot of scarring as a result of treating acne. We see a lot of hyperpigmentation as a result of exposure to the sun. So we have vitamin C, which is such a strong anti-aging ingredient, but also very good at clearing pigmentation and dark marks. Yeah, so that's our range for the face.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how can people reach you?
Oh, we're on social media as Sorana Organics, everywhere, literally Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, as Sorana Organics. And we can also reach us directly on our phone, 0721 853 039.
Okay.
And we offer free consultation and advice on skincare routines. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Before we wind up, I want to talk a little bit about your story of your struggle with acne. You say your mom used natural products on you. Now, unfortunately, today, in this age, Google is everything.
Google. It's both good and detrimental.
True. And there are all these people talking about, you've talked of jojoba being a good oil for the skin, but there are all these other natural oils like the shea butter, cocoa butter. What would you say about that? What's your take on that? At the same time, we have people who say things like using products in your kitchen for your body, like tomatoes and whatnot. What's your take on those?
That's a very good question. And kindly, let's agree, this DIYs. So I think the notion that we would want to demystify is, we assume that all organics are, so long as it's organic, no, not all organics are good, but we assume that so long as it's organic, it's cannot harm you. But remember, whether it's organic or not, you must know the acidity level. Even a tomato is acidic. So some of these things, even whatever, lemon, one of the best fruits we have in the world. But it is so acidic. I see people applying it directly on their skin. You have no idea what you're doing. You're interfering with your skin pH, and therefore you're making your skin more sensitive, and therefore exposing it even more. So organics are good, but very vital is to know what works with what combinations work, what quantities. And that is why at Sorano we were very keen. I was very keen to partner with a biochemist. I have a partner who is a biochemist specifically in organics. So it's very good with formulation, because I realized it's very easy to be mislead, because people go to YouTube and they add this product and they don't know the right quantities, they don't know which oils marry together. You ask about shea butter and cocoa butter, they are very good ingredients. Like on this moisturizer, the face cream, which has collagen, we have shea butter as a base. But again, quantities. We have shea butter, and then we mixed it with oils like argan oil, jojoba oil, and we've also mixed with niacinamide. You have to know the combinations that then will work. And like I said, this we will highly recommend for somebody with dry skin, because shea butter is heavy on moisturizing. So it works perfectly for somebody with dry skin. But I will not give shea butter to somebody with oily skin. We're trying to balance that oil. So all these ingredients, brilliant, amazing, but just knowing what works with what and what is good for which skin. That is essentially the core of getting now value from the products that you use.
I want us to talk about the common issue, which is lack of using sunscreen.
How could we forget? Let me start with sunscreen. There's a notion that because tuko na melanin, we don't need sunscreen.
We're heavy on melanin.
No, I like people to understand the whatever, so that you understand the why. We're all exposed to the sun. What does the sun do? As I highlighted earlier, the ozone layer is depleted currently. Whether it was or not, we are we're a nation, we're third world, we work outside, most of us, we run out, we are in the market, we're doing all this. The ozone layer has been depleted. These rays are hitting our skin directly. So number one, the reason why sunscreen was created is to slow down the effects of that direct sun damage on our skin. Besides the aesthetic one, which is to slow down our aging process, for me, the key one is this direct UV rays. We are seeing skin cancers now. We are seeing skin diseases. So if you don't mind aging early, it's fine. But for your own health protection, please use sunscreen. These rays, they are not discriminative in terms of color. Whether black skin, white skin. You might even want to think maybe, we could even be more exposed, because most of us are working outdoors. Most of us don't drive. So it is not color sensitive. Sunscreen is for everybody, and it's for our own good. It is for our own good, aside from the beauty aspect of it, which is to slow down the early aging process. For me personally, I feel like the health benefit overrides even the beauty benefit. So sunscreen is very important. The second question was advice for about skincare. Let me tell you, whether we say it out loud or not, human beings are very visual beings. And whether we want to agree or disagree on this, I know what happens here affects how we feel inside. And for me, that is my main, because I've realized there are people, and some of the reviews we get, they go to reinforce that, because people come and say, oh my God, you have no idea. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulder. We are very, very conscious to a point. Karen, I know you might have experienced this, especially for women. You're talking to someone and they have that kapimpo that comes at the end of the month. So this one time they're in a, and it could be even a serious conversation, but they feel they need to point it out. Hey, by the way, you know, it's, we are very conscious, you know.
And it affects our self-esteem.
It affects self-esteem. I've had people tell me, I mean, even when boys used to talk to me, I never used to believe I'm beautiful.
Yeah.
You understand? It is affecting our self-confidence because I want women to go into rooms and own their space. I want when they see eyes on them, they know eyes on them for the right reasons. They don't feel sensitive, oh my God, they're looking at my face because my face is scarred or looking like this. Because sometimes these are the conversations we have in our heads that we self-sabotage ourselves and we don't realize it. So for me, it is very, very important to bring out that true authentic self of somebody, to own their space, to feel like they belong, to sit at the table, to know that the eyes on them for the right reasons. And number two, for me, it was very important to do that in a very safe manner. To know that we're doing that, not using chemicals to enhance beauty, but just using organics, the natural things that God gave us, to just bring out our true authentic self. And lastly, there's no shame. Because another thing as women I find is that we invest in everyone else. We forget ourselves.
True.
But what that does in retrospect, and the reason why you need to do that simple skincare routine, without realizing you start taking a backseat. You start prioritizing everyone else, you forget yourself. Then when the babies are grown and the husband is comfortable, and you look back and you wonder, what happened to me? Where did that young girl
Where did you go wrong? Yeah.
You know, so it might seem small and we trivialize it, but I don't find it trivial. I think it's a very big conversation, and that is why brands capitalize on beauty. But it's very important that we focus on safety, even as we embrace these routines. It's very important that we don't forget ourselves. It's very, very important that we take care of ourselves. There's no shame. Stop feeling like you shouldn't invest in yourself. I mean, it's even biblical. It's Queen Esther. They used to be taken for a 12-month process of cleansing, masking, using oils and fragrances before they were paraded in front of the king. So why are we embarrassed? Why do we feel bad, especially as women? It bothers me. Yeah, it bothers me.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come to the show and teach us about the skin and how we should take care of it.
Thank you for having me.
Stop Kalenjin. Amangwa lega inegita ganangwe agopa olinya lugerita our skin. Ongetun ewigini.